How's it, everyone? Right, today we're going to run through our quick battery setup. So if we go into settings and go to battery, all right, so obviously in battery setup we have our first screen is battery type. This is where you obviously select either lithium, AGM voltage, AGM percentage, or no battery, and you make sure that you activate the setting for that, whichever one you use. Obviously your AGM voltage or percentage, you won't have a smart BMS in place for either of those. With the percentage, you might use a BMV, so in that case you can run your percentage through the inverter. Next you'll see you have your battery capacity, your charge amperage, and your discharge amperage. Now this is important to tell the inverter what the capacity and capabilities of the battery are. So if I've got it currently a 100 amp hour battery on, my charge amp maximum is 80 amps and my discharge maximum is 90 amps on this battery. This just allows you later on to tell the inverter where your maximums are, so when we'll get to that stage as well. Obviously you've got CAN bus or RS485 as your options with lithiums for communication purposes, and then the BMS error stop is in place on certain lithiums, not all of them. The lithium that we have on the inverter at the moment, the BSL lithium, is not necessary to have this running, so we don't do that. So if we go through to battery charge, obviously now this gets a bit more difficult to understand, and I get a lot of questions about, especially the 2 amperage bars at the top. The first amperage bar, as you see in dark gray, is for the gen charge. So if I select gen charge here, you'll see that it clears up and I'm actually able to adjust the figure accordingly. But I don't have a generator in place, so we just leave that off. Gen signal is for in case we have a relay in place and we need the inverter to tell the generator to switch on when need be. Second one is obviously to allow for the grid charge. So grid charge amperage I've set at 60 amps. I can obviously up that all the way to 80 amps maximum because I've set on the battery type that is the maximum I can do. I like to do 60 amps and keep the lowest, keep it lower than what the actual capacity is, just keeping the life of my battery for longer. Obviously grid signal as well is just in case that you have a relay in place again for your grid, it can switch over. Your float voltage, your absorption voltage, equalization voltage, all important. Obviously your float is where you need to float your battery at. Your absorption is where it won't go further than that. And equalization, we use this mostly for lead-based batteries. We don't really use it in a lithium-based setting because it's not necessary. The BMSs in most lithium batteries will put it into a sleep mode and you don't really have to worry about the degradation on it the same way you do in any lead or acid AGM battery. So that we just leave as is. Don't forget to hit OK every time. Obviously you change settings. Your Gen Max runtime, that you can set, so you can set it when you have your Gen signal in place if you want to go at high or lower. Obviously, 24 hours. We don't have a gen in place, so it doesn't really matter. Your signal island mode is for complete off-grid settings, systems where, you're basically not relying on a grid at all. And the inverter becomes its own little sustainable power plant. So we don't have that. We do have grid capability at the inverter. My AC is currently off just because I'm running off an off-grid system at the moment, so we don't leave anything else really as is. And then obviously your shutdown. Now I have this in percentage base because of the lithium that I have on and the BMS capability with communication into the battery. So we leave it at shutdown 20%, low bat 35%, restart 50%. Remember, this is your choice. You don't have to set it according to what I have. It all runs on your preferences, okay? And then we're just going to quickly, with regards to the battery LIBMS, if we go in here, you'll actually see that this does have communications with the battery. So you'll see what the current battery voltage is, current battery charge, the battery current going to the battery or out of the battery, your battery temperature, and then the state of charge. So I'm sitting on 99%. So the battery charge voltage, that's all set there. Your charge current limit comes from the battery, and your discharge current limit also comes from reading with the battery. And that's it for today, I think. If there's any other questions, let me know, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.